Hello and welcome back to our channel. This video would be all about Puff. You remember Puff, that pesky Suzuki XL7 that we bought and tried to revive. The reason it has its name is because every time it started, it gave a puff of smoke. Well, here is the engine out of the car that we bought called the Pig. This is a very complicated valve system. You can see the 3 chains here. It has 4 valves and 4 cams and 24 valves. And it is scattered all over my table because I've taken it apart to regasket and reseal it in preparation of replacing the engine in Puff. Now, the engine ended up running fairly good in Puff, but it rattled a lot and it worried me. We often take this car out in the middle of nowhere on our video adventures, and the last thing I want is to have it left out there and us not have a ride home because it broke down somewhere. Now the car itself was thrashed big time. It was dirty and dented up. There was a big dent in the hood. But whoever had it before took really good care of this engine. And this engine runs really super quiet, doesn't use any oil, no knocking, no smoking. And so it's time that this went into Puff to make Puff a good car that we can rely on. Okay, I got it all back together and this is what it looks like. I didn't spend a whole lot of time cleaning or shining or polishing or anything, but I did spend a lot of time going through and making sure all the gaskets and seals and everything else was the way it was supposed to be. So here it is, ready to go. I am not going to put this one in myself. I've hired a local shop to do it for me because I don't have a lift, and it really is kind of tricky trying to do it on the concrete floor by yourself, and so I just hired somebody else. Okay, here it is in the car, like magic. It happened. The guys who did it did a really excellent job. At this point, I've got probably 3,000 miles on it with no issues whatsoever. The engine seems to be a lot stronger than the old engine, and it runs really quiet. Of course, no puff. This engine only had about 115,000 miles on it, which is nothing for these cars. This engine is notorious for easy 300,000 miles if they're taken care of. Well, if you're curious, let me show you the rest of the car. As you can see, there's a pretty massive brush guard with a winch in the front. There is a snorkel, which hopefully we don't use it, but in case, it's there for you. We really try to keep this out of the brush from the scratches, but I have covered this with what they call a bed liner, a pickup bed liner coating, and it's very tough, very strong. And so we've gone through the brush with this one already, and still it doesn't show any marks. That tank right up there is a fuel tank hanging on the side of the car. And let me show you in the back here. I've built a little box that stores the stuff. On top of that box is my drone. It's in the backpack, and then the hard pack for my handheld cameras. And then, let me get to this right here. We'll grab this slide and pull it out. I put a big drawer in it. And in that drawer there's stuff like a box for wires and toolbox and rope and first aid kit, glass cleaner, gloves, all the stuff that you might need off-road. Now I do a little walk around. I found this hard shell spare tire cover that I just couldn't resist, so I threw that on there. And there it is, Three Fingers Follow YouTube, FAA licensed drone pilot. Yay! Another fuel tank, and the round pods up on top are used for storage. During the winter time, I put tow ropes in them, and during the summertime, I put up folding chairs in them so that we can sit down when we're flying the drone and just enjoy the trip. Now inside, up where you used to see the airbags on the dash, they are not there anymore because I've opened that up and I'm using that for camera storage. I reupholstered the seats. That's one of the first things I did when I got it. And I don't know if you know or not, but I ran an auto trim shop for about 42 years before I retired. So this was a no-brainer. It had to happen. On the headliner, you will find my trusty 9mm and the ammunition. They're kept up there with magnets, and also the remotes for the front and rear wrenches are attached to the headliner with magnets. You will see the switch pod that operates all the lights, and let me see what else we got going on there. Lots of ammo. Kind of messy inside. We've been using it, so I haven't cleaned it up before I did the video. I don't know if I've mentioned this or not, but we have about 4,000 miles on it now since we have put the engine in, and now we find Puff in its element. As if, you know, it weren't comfortable anywhere else, I guess. But it is. It's a great road car. It'll cruise all day long at 70, 80 miles an hour and does very well off-road. The transmission has a dual range in it, so it's low range for really serious stuff out in the woods, and it does very well. Out front, you'll see a 9,500-pound Badlands winch, and they're not paying me to say that, but it is a great winch. It's a store-bought brush guard, but it's been highly modified to hold the winch, and also it hooks the motorhome to the car. You see those little pins in the front, and I have a tow bar on the motorhome that we could just hook right to it. And yes, folks, the hood scoop and the air scoop are functional. The hood scoop works to get cold air in while we're going down the road, and while we're out in the brush, it lets the hot air out. And of course, the air scoop, or the scoop, is hooked to the engine airbox, so it is very functional. On the top, the roof rack is also store-bought but modified, and underneath the front of it you'll see the light bar. The two pods on each side in the winter hold tow straps, and in the summer holds folding chairs so we can sit outside. There is another fuel tank on the side there, and if you look real close, down on the bottom in the back is also another winch. That is a 3,500-pound winch. That one comes in handy for loading stuff in the trailer. On the bulkhead of the trailer I have a Fairlead, so I can run the rope through the Fairlead and load stuff on the trailer. Well, that's about it for our little tour of Puff. It is now known as the Black Edition Puff. But I hope you enjoyed our video, and be sure and subscribe if you haven't yet. I'd appreciate it very much. And hit the bell, and you'll get notified when we produce another video. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. We appreciate it.